All right, Jay, can you push everyone in here for me? Let's get this ball rolling, buddy. Do we have somebody out there serving anything? Home Standards is out there. What do we got? Lobster, filet, pizza. Home Standards got breakfast pizza. Give them a big hand. Go out there and say hi to them, guys. So Brian's already ate 2 or 3 slices. Brian, you're looking skinny. I'm worried about you. Okay. You're gaining weight? Well, then you were too skinny. That's what my wife told me. So I started eating at Mike's Pastries. All right, guys, we're going to kick this off with a video. We first played this video probably 9-10 years ago. And I think we've maybe played it once since then. Gina brought it up, says we haven't played this video in a long time. It's a feel-good video. He's grown up. He's actually done additional videos since then. And he met Obama after he did this video. But it's Kid President. So it's a feel-good. Many of you probably seen it, but here we roll. Here we roll. We all need pep talk.
The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're good at that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. It is a cereal. And if life is a game, I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, be on my team. This is nice, people. You got air come through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. And I took the yellow west travel. He said, don't stop believing. Listen to get a better brain and keep going. Keep going, and keep going. What Michael Jordan had quit? Well, he didn't quit. No, he retired. Yeah, he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? Well, he never made Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create to make the world awesome? Nothing if we keep sitting there. Get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. I do all this. Everybody's doing videos and blur reasons and things. So get to it. You just did catch up. Bring something together to make the world awesome.
If that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what will. So we need to look up, because I know he's done some other ones even since then he's grown up. So I do like that though, right? We're on the same team and we talk about that all the time, right? Mastermind groups, getting together. We're here to help each other learn, to grow, to encourage. And when you do that, everybody through what we call the attitude of abundance gets better. So talking about attitude of abundance, Mr. Jay Brown's kicking off in 2 weeks from this Thursday. His class, Unstoppable. So I think we have a sheet on everyone's desk. The first guest speaker is, I've heard, is incredible. Incredible. Who do you have, Jay, up first? Lindsay. All right. Jay, come up here and pitch your class. Guys, please do this. Again, we believe the year does not start January 1st. We believe the beginning of the year is October 1st, right? The activities you do in the last quarter of this year is not going to determine the amount of business you do this year. It's going to determine how you start next year. And that's the reason we always do this in October and November before the holiday start, is to put you in the right mindset to really kick some ass as next year starts. Roll.
All right. Well, one of the quotes I really like is action is cheaper than regret. So this class will allow you to, like, you collaborate, be with other agents, we always have a group of about 100, 120 people that are in the class. And what I like this time is we're going to do some things a little bit different. We've always tried to do accountability partners, and sometimes that wanes a little bit, but we're actually going to do accountability partners and then do 4 teams, which are going to be split up between all the managers. And what will happen after the fact, whoever wins will actually get a private lunch with Vince, the team, and along with the other top producers. So
At Mike's Pastries.
yeah, Mike's Pastries. So
In Boston.
we just got some cool accountability stuff, some prizes at the end. We're going to have, there's a ton of stuff coming out on the resource center that you've probably been seeing through the network about the Forever Agent. So Shelly's going to be helping me out with that. And there's some other social media tools that they're coming out with as well that can help boost your business. But again, it's all just to collaborate with other agents, get excited. I mean, some of it's going to be the same content, but it's the fundamentals, setting goals, dreaming big, knowing what you want to go after. Because if you don't do that, again, you're just going to sit on the sidelines. January is not going to look like what you want it to look like, because you need to really start that now. So I'm excited for the class. Every speaker besides Mike Pettit and Vince are brand new speakers that we've never had before. So Lindsay Hellingsworth, Deb Gustafson, Tammy Nunn, Lori Paul, all big producers. I'm just excited to pick their brain and see what they're doing to build their business. So excited for you guys just to sign up. It'll be a good time. And
Not offered on Zoom.
yes, no Zoom this time. So we'll be able to do a lot more work, I guess, in the class than we've ever been able to do, just because it was so hard to do that on Zoom.
Yeah. Nobody likes accountability. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But, right? Stacy? You're exactly. But if you're held accountable, what human behavior shows us is you become more productive. You put systems in place that helps you ultimately at the end of the day grow your business. So love to have, we want this room completely packed, people out there. And again, remember, this is helping you make sure that you're in the right mindset to get through the holidays, to do the actions, to create the habits that starts next year off great. So anything you want to add about that?
No, I think it's going to be a great class. And so if you have any questions at all, when you go to the sign up sheet, if you can't attend all 6 of them, that's fine. Just put in the dates that you're going to be missing. But then when we do expect you to be there, all the other dates that you commit for. And especially with accountability partners, that's the thing that's been the roughest, is nobody likes accountability. But when we match you up, I mean, I want you guys to not feel like you were going to let the other person down, because we go from 120 people down to 60, and
Right.
And people just give up on themselves.
Didn't that kid say, believe in yourself?
Yep.
Is that dude Journey said?
Yep. So I think it's going to be great. And I appreciate the managers that are going to help me out with some of this stuff that we'll.
So who
talk
are the
about.
4 teams? Who's the team leaders?
It'll be Mark, leaders, Jennifer P. Tack out of Sarpy, Heather Hanukkah, and me. I sent you guys an email, but I haven't talked to you guys more about it. So it'll be fine. It'll just
Mark
be,
and Jennifer's like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. I sent one. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Or was it a group text? All right. Thank you, Jay. Is Kobe or Adam here? Are they out there? All right. I'll give them a couple more minutes. Oh, come on up. Well, I guess we're going to start without him. Kobe and when you see Adam walking down the hall, he said he'd be here, so he should be here in a second.
He said 3 minutes. Who knows?
I'm gonna let you guys talk about the event you're doing. And the thing that I want to say, can't hear me? No, yeah, you'll have to use a microphone. Is I want you to talk about kind of the structure of it, who's coming in, who they are, and so forth. And here's the thing that I know, talking to Adam and having done these things in the past, is this kind of like a little miniature explosion in my mind. You're bringing someone in, a keynote speaker. Is these things cost $1,000 plus? This is going to cost these guys $80,000 so to put this thing on. And I was talking to Adam. He's like, I'm at a point in my life, I want to do things to give back to others. This is not to make money. This is to say, what can I do to help change people's lives? So I'm gonna let you talk about the speakers. When Adam gets here, he can add or repeat exactly what you said, and then we'll move on from there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll just fill in for Adam since he's not here, and we'll rock and roll. But yeah, we're not doing this to make money. This isn't something that we're going to do that is going to benefit us tremendously. We're spending about $80,000 to bring people in for this event. So when you look at the ticket cost,
And Megan was 70,000 of it, right?
at least $70,000, right? So we have Megan Owens going to be there as a panel speaker, and then we have Nico Marasco is going to be there as a panel speaker.
So hopefully the rest will be better than those two.
Well, I was going to say, if you're expecting better than that, it's like, no. We have some other people as well that we haven't announced from other brokerages. So we're going to invite people from other brokerages as well. But yeah, we're not doing this to get famous. We're not doing this to like make a bunch of money. We're really trying to just change and help people benefit on a national level. And we just want to try to bring in the best of the best. So we have John Cheplack coming. And those of you who don't know John Cheplack, he really focuses on making sure that you have exactly what you need. And he's not there to sell you anything. He's not there to pitch you anything. Same with Adam and I. We're not going to be selling you anything or pitching you anything. But John Cheplack focuses on some core basic stuff that you really need to focus on, especially with the times changing. So he's going to talk to you about some of the things that we're not doing, time blocking or staying true to ourselves, or putting time aside for door knocking, getting back to the basics, stuff like that. So, so John Cheplack's going to be there. He's going to talk about that. He's going to bring along Brittany Pino, his fiance, and what she's accomplished in a short period of time. And then Sunit Agarwal is going to be there. And he's the #1 brokerage team leader in the state of California. Why does that matter? He's going to give you tactful stuff about follow-up. So we have a diverse group of people coming in as well. So
Adam, you were with John last weekend, right?
Yeah. So guys, I'm the irrational one. I go off the handle. So Kobe's like way better, like at delivering like the,
Are you going to cry?
probably. So, guys, again, I'm sorry I walked in late. So I was just, this is why I like John Cheplack. And again, we're not doing this. John Cheplack alone, I'm paying him between his flight, first class flight, rental car, and his speaking fee, $40,000 alone. Okay. The whole event will cost us 80. Like, even if I sold 400 tickets, because the room maxes out at 400, that will put me at $80,000. But we do a deal where if you buy 5 tickets, you get it at $100 a piece. So we're not making money on it. So yeah. So the reason why I wanted to do this is because I want to do these at least once a year, because the biggest thing for me is I get people like John Cheplack in front of my team. And that's huge. Like, Kobe first went to him like, what, a year and a half ago, and he like fell in love. And then I was like, I want to go. And so then I went and I was like, oh my gosh, like this dude, like I have the chills right now. Like, he literally will give you the chills. And like, now I'm just trying to soak him up as much as I can. So it's to get guys like this in front of my team and to minimize the cost. So if I can bring it to the whole market, bring value to the whole market, like, it's a new challenge for me. And, we've built a good, successful team. So why not like bring some value to the market? It's a new challenge. And it brings, again, tremendous value to the team. So just this last week, I was with, I paid $15,000 for this whole trip to go this last week. I spent time with Ryan Stewman and John Cheplack. And what I like about John is he's all about like going deep. Like, so for me, and this is what I need to like self-discover what the fuck I have going on in my life. And I'm sorry for my language. And this is where I get emotional, guys. I have been dealing with anxiety. Like last year, Kobe knows this, and I'm an open book. I tell everyone, I started having panic attacks, like legit suicidal panic attacks. Not kidding. So I had to start like figuring out what is going on with me. So and that's what John's all about. He's all about like going extremely deep and self-discovering what is going on with yourself. And John went to Hawaii. He lived there for 6 months because, John, Mark Stark? So he worked for Mark Stark. He ran a Prudential office, 5,000 agents, 100 offices. This was back in like 90s into early 2000s. He was a raging alcoholic. He had so many issues, but he was good. He was really good at what he did. Well, he blew up, right? You can't live that path for so long without like imploding. So he went to Hawaii. He lived there for 6 months off the grid to go super deep. Now, some of these guys I was with this last weekend, they're doing these ayahuasca trips, like crazy, like psychedelic crap. I'm not talking that. That's not what he's going to do with you or anything like that. But there's no like self-discovery stuff like that. But
Pass it around.
Yeah. But yeah, but he's all about going deep because you have to figure out what's going on with yourself before you can go start helping other people. And that's what I'm trying to focus on personally for myself, is figure out like, what deep rooted issues do I have going on in my life from maybe it's the past or who knows what, that I can figure out, self-discover, and then now I can start helping other people on a whole nother level. And that's what John has done extremely well. So that's why I asked Megan, Nico, some like top performers in our market to talk on a panel. I think it's going to be beneficial for them to be able to spend time with John as well.
So where do they sign up?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. This is why I go off a rant. And that's why I'm not speaking at this event. Like, I'm not speaking at the event. I want to make that very clear. I'll intro him, or
No, like,
probably Kobe will. And that's it. But I wanted you guys, I'm passionate about this, dude. Like, again, I spent 15 grand last weekend. Me and Kobe and Christina are going there again next weekend to Tahoe, just to literally soak up. And that will cost probably another $15,000. Only reason I'm saying that, it's not to brag. It's just like, I'm spending big money personally to get in front of this guy. And he will be life-changing. The reason I want as many of you guys there, because I want more people to fill the room, because it's just more energy. It's like, who doesn't want to be an event with a shitload of people? Like, it's just good, positive vibes. Plus it gives me good content for future stuff. Like, why not? Toptierliveevent.com. If you go buy a bundle of 5, it's $97 versus $197 for an individual ticket. So again, the dinner is, so the dinner is the night before at, is it Barnardo? Is that how you say that? $597 for that dinner. That will be a much smaller, intimate group. There's going to be like 25 of us total. So if you guys want to do that, but most importantly, I would get to that event, share it with people that you think would benefit. I truly believe this is for anyone, veteran agent, brand new agent. Again, toptierliveevent.com, where you can get your ticket. Oh, good point, maybe. October, shit. October 6th, it's a Thursday. It's at Diamond Room. Guys, this is like an all-day event. It's from noon to 5 or 6.
I like how I don't know the details.
Yeah, it's very shaky.
12 to 5.
12 to 5. October 6th, it's Thursday. It's downtown at the Diamond Room. So I think, we'll have some good fall weather. Hopefully we're able to open up the garage doors. It's going to be a cool event. And a happy
Those
hour.
are around. That's where we had Seth Madison Price 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Was the Diamond Room down by the ballpark.
Can you guys tell I'm excited for this event?
All right.
That's all I had. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Debbie, Megan, Ryan, come on up. We're going to do our top takeaways from Summit. Summit was in Boston this year. Debbie, this was your first time ever attending, right? I know that's working. Those are working? Perfect. Okay, take it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, you can shorten it. There you go. Debbie, let me start with you. This is your first summit. It was in Boston. Kind of, what was just forgetting the content? What was your perspective of the event itself?
It was very well put together. It was kind of like a mini convention. A lot of great energy, people talking, networking, good content and breakout classes and the general sessions.
And the general sessions at Summit are almost never really related to real estate. They're almost always related to inspiration or some overcoming, obstacles in your life, kind of motivational, inspirational type of stuff. And so I thought we had a couple great keynote speakers. So who would have been your favorite? What would have been your favorite session or favorite speaker that you heard there?
Kendra Hall.
So talk a little bit about.
Professional storyteller. So she was going over how to develop your own story, and that people really engage with people that are telling stories. And it's more likely that they'll come back and tell you one of their stories. It's just a good way to connect with people, get them to talk to you a little bit more and open up and develop that relationship with them.
So anyone else want to expand kind of on her and her story? She actually, I think, Megan, you actually took some screenshots of what a story is, what a story isn't, and so forth. Could you maybe expand upon her? I love it. We talk about in mastermind groups all the time, right? When you're talking to buyers and sellers, tell stories, tell things that move them. And so she learned this skill when she was in college. She was taking some science class that she hated. And at the very end, she had to write a paper and it had to be 5 pages long. She can only fill 4 pages with the scientific facts. So she fluffed it with a story before and a story at the end. And then she ended up getting an A, I think like a 99 on that thing. And she said that's when all of a sudden this light bulb went off her head that telling stories actually are powerful and it connects things. Megan, expand. Tell us the story.
I took a lot of notes. She said basically there's like 4 things to know about storytelling. 1, humans are attracted to a story. Stories illustrate value. Stories connect people, and then stories stick. So she does have a book. I think it is called Stories Stick. If you want to read it, it's on Amazon. She said a story is not a logo or a slogan. It's not a bullet point of features or benefits. It's not data or numbers. It's not jargon or values or promises. A story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A story happens in a particular moment. There are emotions, not just information, and there are characters to talk about and something at stake. So she basically said when you're connecting with people, to find the story, craft the story, and tell the story. So figure out when you're in a listing appointment or a buyer appointment and, take a day or 2 and think about different scenarios that have happened throughout your career and use those stories in the time that you are doing whatever you're doing, the listing presentation or whatever. People connect more to a story than they do just you sitting there giving your listing presentation, like make people feel connected to you.
Right. And the story really helps connect the dots, right? It helps you get your point across to get them to act in a certain way. Ryan, this is your second time you've been to Summit, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Talk about the experience or what you like about it. What appealed to you to make you want to go back a second time?
Yeah, well, it's, let me continue this story thing a little bit, expound on it. 2 things that stuck out from that speech in my mind. One, there was like a case study that some group of people did. They bought $250 worth of like knickknack items, little, I don't know.
At garage sales, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
garage sale stuff, paperweights, whatnot. So 250, and then they posted it back on eBay or something. But in the listing, they added a really nice story. So if there's like a paperweight of a little globe or something like that, and they wrote a story about how this husband and wife traveled the world, and they hope whoever buys this globe is inspired to have a fun life and travel. They ended up selling all of the $250 worth of stuff they bought for $8,000 because of the story. Second thing that stood out in my mind with that speech. I think Megan touched on it. It's like telling a story is easier and it helps get your point across better. So she had us turn to our neighbors, the people sitting next to us, and say 2 things. First, talk about perseverance. It was a boring conversation. I actually didn't even say anything because I just wanted to wait and see what she said. And then she said, okay, now tell your neighbor about the first time you fell off your bike. I initiated the conversation with the lady sitting next to me, and I also tied in perseverance to that story. So it was like a more fun, easier way to get the point across, and it's more memorable for the listener. You asked why I wanted to go back. So all the speakers are great. I think it's a little bit more thought-provoking than convention.
It's about 1/10. It's 500 to 600 people versus 5,000 to 6,000 people.
Yeah. But the main reason I wanted to go back was the camaraderie with the agents up here and the other people that went. We have a nice brokerage. It's pretty cool being at a place where there's successful people, but it's also enjoyable. So it makes work not feel like work, really. That's kind of why I went.
And we always do a dinner, just like convention where we have a get together at Summit. We'll do, Cindy, you've been when we were down at Key Biscayne, right? We'll always get everyone together to go to dinner, to get together, talking about being together. And Tanya Blocker's husband's a Raiders fan, so we're accepting of all walks of life. Okay. When a Chief fan lets a Raider fan come to dinner with you, you've got to be accepting. But it took on, was it Monday night? I wanted to watch the second half of Monday Night Football. What did it take us, Nico? And 2 hours to get our dinner. We were sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. Then all of a sudden, Nico jumps up. They're like modern pastry. So down in old town, talking about being together. He's like, Modern Pastries closes in 15 minutes. We got to get some pastries. And so I go into the bathroom and I come out of the bathroom. Where's Nico? He went over there because he wanted to make sure we got there. So Nico runs like, I don't know, a mile. I don't think he's ran a mile in the last 18 years. And we get in, he's sweating the next hour. And he says, I want 2 boxes of what did he say? 2 dozens of your best something. I mean, he's got boxes of stuff coming. And then all of a sudden, Meg and I get there. We both have a sweet tooth problem. Okay. I think she said on the trip, I don't think I've seen a dessert Vince doesn't like. And that could be true. They're talking about giving up alcohol. I'm like, I give up alcohol easy. Just don't take my sweets away from me. And so, so he was at Mike's Pastry. And I'm like, Modern's Pastry, 2 nights before, we had these dark chocolate caramel pecan things that, oh my God, they were to die for. I'm like, I think they close in 2 minutes. She's like, let's go. So she's got heels on. I got flip-flops. We are literally running down the middle of the street. We're so desperate to get to these chocolate turtles. But you laugh, you get together, you have dinner together. And I think that's one of the most important things when people come to Explosion or Summit or convention is network with other people that you can get business out of, that you can learn from, right? And you can create new friends with. And I think that's an important aspect of these type of things. And for those that next year it'll be in Hawaii, I'm positive it'll sell out day one. I told Carrie, I want us to make sure we get a hold of everyone as a Chairman's Circle winner in advance of that, because it will be, they only buy so many of those tickets, it will be gone immediately. So, but I think that's a great point. Debbie, back to you. Who else did you like and what did you take away from them?
So Christy.
And
was
those
talking-
turtles were good, by the way. Oh my God, it was worth the run.
Christy was talking about forever agents. She had some bullet points that she put up on the screen. Convert your databases to client bases. Expand search engine optimization to seek engine optimization. Go beyond serving to also representing your communities, and to remove the word past clients from our vocabulary forevermore. I think the last one is something that I'm kind of guilty of. I call them past clients, and they're not just in our past. They should be in perpetuity. So they had a breakout session, 34 Forever Agent Proclamations. Alan Dalton and Andrew Undum put together this book for it. They led the class. They did it just for the people attending the session. If anybody wanted to borrow it from me, I'm happy to lend it
And
out.
Andrew texted me yesterday. They're like, I'm getting them at cost $8 a book. They're going to ship me a dozen of those. If we need more, I need to call him back today. So if people want those for yourself, tell me and I'll order more. So just shoot me a text or Gina a text today, because they were going to ship those today for us. Go ahead. I apologize for interrupting.
No, you're fine. I was done.
All right. So, and Andrew was here at Explosion. He was, I don't know who's watched the videos from Explosion, but he was the one video I said I really would watch if you have not had an opportunity. He is extremely well spoken. He will study and study and study and study. But to him, it's all about communicating human behavior. You know, how do you react to connect with people and so forth. So that class was sold out. And
Standing room.
a lot of people got there and could not even get into it. So I wish they would have had 2 sessions of that.
Tanya and I were sitting on the floor.
Sitting on the floor. All right, Megan, what else did you like?
Let's see. I can't remember his name.
The speaker the first day, I can't pronounce his name, but there was a speaker, kind of a rags to riches story the first day,
Yeah.
came from a very rough background.
Yeah, so I really liked him. He had some good things talking about overcoming adversity and all that stuff, but the biggest question that he asked, which I think it was him, I'm not 100% sure, but he said, what do you think holds you back? And whatever your answer is, it also has the potential to the start of an epic news story. Maybe that was a story like who knows? But I liked that question because I feel like we get so caught up in the day-to-day of, showing buyers or going on listing appointments, but what's going to take you to the next level? Like, why aren't you going to the next level, and what's holding you back? And are you going to use that as a negative, as why you're not doing what you need to be doing? Or are you going to take that, figure out why it is that way, and then catapult into whatever it is that you want to do?
You guys want to add about the speaker the first day? Because I thought he was a great compelling story.
I didn't get on. Yeah, so my main takeaway from him was you're not a product of your circumstances. So like he was talking a lot about how he grew up in a rough upbringing relatively. He could have easily been a drug dealer and stuff.
And his dad sold drugs.
Yeah, a lot of it. But he would well, he did sell drug. He was part of his dad's business, but he would also like read an encyclopedia. So he took it upon himself to get smart and get knowledge and turn it into wisdom. And now he's successful. So it's just nice to know that. I don't know. there's no excuses.
Anything.
Yeah.
He really was an example of anything's possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your background is. They came down, was it Harvard or Stanford? I think Stanford. He went to a couple of different colleges that accepted him because they were going after economically challenged people. He was from Mississippi in what was the lowest rated school district in the country. And they're like, we want to help get these people out of this environment into a different environment to help them change their lives. And he was also an example of, you know, if you say I can't do something, I will do something, right? He was that rebellious personality of how do I overcome things? Don't tell me I can't do something. If you tell me I can't do something, I will then for sure make sure that I spend all my time, energy, and effort to make sure that I do that. And then he used that as fuel to fire his passion.
It was refreshing to hear him say all that, because it seems like today everybody tries to victimize themselves, and it is refreshing to hear somebody come out of a rough situation.
Debbie, you went to some classes other, I think, than Andrews and Allen's. Anything you could share with those? And Megan, I know you've got to leave here in the next 5 minutes.
I think the mastermind was one that I really enjoyed. They broke us up into separate tables with different categories of what you'll talk at that table. They had one that was teams best practices, listing presentations, lead generation and client follow-up, and open idea sharing. A lot of the things that were talked about in there, though, were things that we heard at the mastermind at convention. Our table was lead gen and client follow-up, but one of my biggest takeaways from that, and it's something that they didn't really expound on, because you go through and you come up with a whole sheet of ideas, and then each table only presents 2 or 3 to the whole group. But I'm going to look into it. It's Google assessment. You can hire Google to assess your page, your business page, for optimal function. They were talking about how you should have at least 100 photos on your Google business page, and that you need to tag them or title the photo so that you can have them targeted. So
I facilitated one of the mastermind groups. Nico and Megan was in there, and maybe because we do so many of them, I was a little disappointed because I kept walking around each table saying, what's something that you've started doing over the last 6 to 12 months that's new that you weren't doing before? What's something creative you're doing? And we didn't really come up with anything new or creative, to be honest with you. And it's maybe because we have so many mastermind groups, we hear everything they've said before. But it really was, and this was the diamond one. It was a top group there, Chairman Circle Diamond. It really was going back to communication. I mean, we really did see that everyone's like, we got to be communicating more frequently, building stronger relationships, things that we've said on a regular basis. One of the things that did come out of there that I liked the twist of was someone was talking about Zestimates, and that when they go to list a property, because they were talking about listing presentations, and this part of the open conversation is that, you know, that you got to kind of ignore the Zestimate. And they're like, well, you've heard of the iBuyer program, right? That was a Zillow thing where they were going in and buying houses, and a big part of that was off of the Zestimates. Well, they're out of business now. They lost so much money on that, they decided to get out of that business. So when we're looking at this, we need to look at the data. We need to look at, you know, what's going on in the marketplace and the trends, not just look at the Zestimate, because if we're looking just at the Zestimate, we're not looking at the big picture. And so I thought that analogy of telling that story of Zillow jumping into this, thinking it's a great idea that we're going to buy these houses and flip these houses and resell these houses and make all this money, actually did not work out that way. So that was a takeaway for me out of that. Anything else that Ryan, I'll start with you, walk back this way, and then I'm going to share this chart on interest rates showing that we're at a 14-year high on interest rates. And what does that mean to all of us as soon as we're done with this? But Ryan, what was the last takeaway that you have?
One of the other breakout sessions was about marketing. So by nature, I'm not great at marketing. Thankfully, the Bjork group I'm on, Mike Bjork's team, we have a good marketing point man, Rebecca Collins. So I kind of took notes for her. When to market. So by the time somebody reaches out to you or us, he was saying they've already gone through like 60% of the decision-making process. They know whether or not they're going to buy a house. They know, who they're going to go with, whatever. So you want to have already presented yourself to them in one way or another. I'm scrolling through my notes. The closing. So the closing table is the most boring part of the transaction. So don't let that be the last substantial interaction you have with your client. Use an example of Disney World. So somebody surveyed people throughout the day at I think the Epcot Center where they do the fireworks. It's like 5 different points or something in time during the day, like waiting in line, the actual ride, the gift stores, the food, and then the fireworks. And then they average those results one out of on a scale of 10. And it averaged out to be a 6.5 out of 10 experience for the people. Then another sample of people, they asked them only after the fireworks how their day was, and they said it was like a 9.3 out of 10. So that last experience needs to be more substantial than I tend to make it. So maybe at the closing table isn't the right time to give the client the gift. Maybe say, hey, let me swing by your new house in a couple of days, and I have something I want to give you or whatever. Throw fireworks at or something.
Debbie.
Most of you probably know how to market better than I do. So that was a substantial takeaway for me.
So I'm going to do a little commercial for convention and summit. That putting in the money to invest to go on those trips, it's so well worth it. You will 100% get a great ROI on that for your business. And just connecting with people and talking with people, not just people nationwide, but also within our own group, and really getting to know people. I'm down in Sarpy, so I don't get up here all that often and don't know many of the people up here very well. So it was a great experience, but I also want to say that Explosion, the content and Explosion, in my opinion, was better than Summit. So if you can look at those videos from Explosion, you should 100% do it.
I agree with that.
I would say last year's Summit conference, the content was quite a bit better than this year's.
I felt last year's content was a little bit better also than this year's. But I think, it's kind of like what Adam was talking about up here in his way, is that there's things that drag us down, right? There's hurdles in life that we need to get over and obstacles we need to get around. And why do you go to Summit? Why do you go to Adam's event? Why do you go to Explosion? Why do you go to any of these events that you pay to go to? Part of it is to put you back in the right mindset, to be positive, to be focused on the tasks that are going to help you be more productive and healthier in your life, right? And so when we're talking about things, it's not all about the speakers they bring in. They're not just all about real estate. A lot of it's about mental health, physical health. How do we put ourselves in the right space to be productive, to be healthy, to be happy? And so I think that's the reason it's always worth your time to spend a little money, to invest a little time, to do these type of things. Because I think if you really go with the intent of taking something away from it, it's really almost impossible. Because I felt like the content here was not as good as it's been in the past, but there was still good stuff to come out of there.
Even if you're just taking away one thing that's going to help your business.
Right. And when you sit there and you listen, you do feel better. It makes you refocus and rethink. And then you've got to take action on those things. That's what we say when people come out of Explosion or Convention or Summit. Take notes, go and act on something, right? Because what happens, we know as time passes and you get a week, a month passed down the road, a great idea dissipates and all of a sudden you don't act on it and you kind of went for nothing. You felt good for a moment, but you want it to have a lasting effect on it. So let's give them a big hand. And then Maggie, if you're in there, can you put up the mortgage rates trends chart over the last oh, there it is. So mortgage rates, Allison, I see you back there. Friday, 30-year mortgage is about 6 1/8, 6 1/4. Is that fair? I think she's saying yes. They raised it yesterday again. 6 1/4. So we've got to look, guys, we've got to go back to November of 2008. They were right under 6%. We are at a 14-year high on interest rates. I don't think there's anybody in their right mind that could have anticipated at the beginning of this year, right? When we were sitting here, down at 3% now, we've never in history prior to COVID went below 3 1/4. And I've always said 3.5 is kind of the floor for interest rates. And so it's went down to 3.3 on a 30-year mortgage. That was a historic low. And what I said in a mastermind group yesterday was I really feel like maybe what we're seeing right now is a little bit of the hangover from all of the craziness and the party that took place during COVID, where they artificially reduced interest rates to these crazy numbers of down to 2.5%, where all this, appreciation, equity's been built more over the last 2 to 3 years than we've ever seen before. And so I want us to understand the facts here, but as we're showing buyers houses, right? One is we're showing seller houses, why we're off the highs of early spring, which is the highs of the market of prices. House prices are still across the board worth more today than they were 2 to 3 years ago, right? We're off the highs, but people still got tons of equity in their house that they did not have 2 or 3 years ago. So we need to remember that when we're dealing with sellers. And most sellers that I'm hearing now in our mastermind groups, Heather, are kind of coming to the conclusion is they're saying we've kind of missed the highs, right, Jay? We've missed the highs. I think they're recognizing what's going on in the economy and things are coming back down. We're seeing in Florida, Arizona, and other markets, new construction people are giving upwards on $1 million houses, upwards of $100,000 off on now to start simulating, because we're starting to see more spec houses in the market. I don't expect that in Omaha. I think we're a much more stable market. We've not, that $1.1 million house was a $600,000 house 3 years ago. So coming down 100,000 is not some crazy number for them. But we've got to explore loan assumptions. We've got to explore ARMs. We've got to talk to our lenders. We got to figure out what are all the options we have, and I don't know what they are, to help get buyers in houses and talk to them about, listen, the odds are the economy, interest rates are going up. Usually as interest rates go up, there's an inverse relationship. Price activity goes down. As they start reducing interest rates, they're trying to stimulate the economy to increase activity again. But I still think there's an opportunity for buyers to get out there. They're not competing nearly as much. Every mastermind group, we have somebody says, I competed against, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 other people, but it's not competing against 15, 25, 30 people that it was earlier this spring and most of last year. So I just want you to understand this, figure out what the options are. But this was a chart that they gave at a summit that I thought was a good chart for us to understand for our knowledge, because I feel like the more knowledgeable we are, the more information that we're passing along to our database, our clients, the more they're going to trust us. They want to know that we're knowledgeable and that we have wisdom that's going to help them through transactions today. Any questions or thoughts about this? Rich, Allison, anyone that wants to add to this? That I said ARMs, assumptions, look at every option, talk about that you're going to probably refinance this within a period of time. So, I mean, I think you've got to look at every option for your buyers out there. Yes.
Sorry, just as a note, from a service release premium standpoint, if you don't know what that is, when a lender originates a loan, they sell it to a servicer. Okay. Last year at this time, that servicer was paying about 2.5% of the loan amount back to that lender. Today, it's about 25 basis points. Okay. So what the servicers are telling you, which are the people who move the market, they're telling you that we're not in this period for an extended period of time. And so for your buyers who are out there paying points to buy interest rates down, I think it's it's not a responsible thing to do because that money is going to be wasted in a year, year and a half, or whatever that is, whatever the prediction is. Before I came down, because thought this might be a topic, I looked online and so just go online and just do, hey, what's the next 12-month forecast for mortgage rates? Look to see what Wells Fargo says, Forbes, CNBC, Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae's next 12-month forecast is we're going to have an average rate next year of 4.5. Forbes is 8.5. None of these guys know. You ever see Wolf of Wall Street, the whole Fugazi?
If I say a
Fugazi?
number, bet the opposite, trust me.
So anyway, it's just, it's a volatile period of time. Nobody's lived through it. We've got inflation that's not transitory, according to what the Fed had said 6 months ago. Tomorrow, they're going to raise the rate at which banks borrow the money from the Fed at probably at least 3/4 of a point. That's going to cause your prime lending rate to be around 6.25 here locally. Prime lending rates impact your home equity loans, your car loans, your credit cards, those things, not necessarily mortgage. So just, the main thing here, I think, is keeping that first-time home buyer market robust. And that's the ripple that gets everything else going. A couple other issues there, I guess I bring up is, NYFA, from a first-time home buyer standpoint, increased their loan amount to 349 or their purchase price amount to 349. And now they'll do 5% of that toward the down payment.
We're seeing lots of people do knife in our
Yep.
masterminds, more than I've seen for 20 years.
Yep. And the other piece is conventional loan limits. For this year, we're 647,200. Next year have already been published at 715,000 for our market. So you can borrow 715,000 and put as little as 3% down. Yeah, it's robust. Anyway,
Thank you.
any questions?
Questions? Yep. All right. Bottom line is, I've said this time after time in mastermind groups, is I really believe what we're going to start seeing. Take a step back. The last 4 months, we've been trending 13 to 18% down. We're trending down 20 to 25% for new pendings September versus last September. So, and when I looked at yesterday's numbers, we're kind of following that suit. So we're seeing prices drop a little, but fairly stable on the prices. But I'm expecting 20% less new pending transactions the balance of this year relative to the last 4 months of last year. I just think that's realistic. So what's that mean? That means those who are building relationships, staying connected, showing value are going to get more than their fair share of business. I truly believe, and I'd love to see where the numbers are, because I think we're almost at the end of that 30-day period for people to turn the license back in. And I see we've sent a chunk of license back to people going to inactive status. I've said this, you're my friend. I like you. Over the last 2 years, that was enough to say, I'll list my house with you, get an MLS, do the paperwork for me, give me a discount on my commission. That's all I really need. I don't think that's enough today. They need to trust you, understand your knowledge, your negotiation skills, your ability to help them market that property and make this an easy, simple, stress-free transaction today more than ever, because they know it's not going to sell day one with 25 offers. So get out there, show your value, stay connected with people, get face-to-face with people, but be knowledgeable on the marketplace and tell them what's going on. Now, what we're doing is making educated guesses. As Rich said, you've got one person saying interest rates can be 4.5%, another person saying they're going to be 8.5% next year. Nobody knows, but we can say, here's the statistics, here's what's going on, here's what we think is going to happen, and then you can make a decision with them and come up with the best guess. But being educated is going to help you. I would, back to what Debbie said, who's here went and watched any of the videos from Explosion? I would go and spend some time watching some of those videos, because I think there's going to be tips in there that's going to help you fine-tune your message to communicate differently in a more effective, efficient manner with your buyers and sellers out there in the marketplace. Heather, yes.
Telling our sellers about like, do we expect it to be more of a normal market, like COVID?
The question is, what should we be telling our clients on listings this fall? Do we expect it to be more of a normal market? And I think that's really a good way to explain this. We're back into what I consider a more normal market, right? It was normal to take a month or two to sell a house for many years, the last 10 years, right? It was it's going to sell in a day or two for this crazy price with these crazy number of offers. That's not normal. So I think that's what we need to do. So one of the things we've been saying is be getting longer listing timeframes. You need to get back into getting 6-month listings, not 1 month or 1 week or something like that, to protect yourself. And you've still got a lot of sellers wanting to overprice things. So I think you got to walk through. I think you tell stories of other sellers that have priced things right and other sellers that have overpriced things and how that's affected them in the marketplace. Give examples of those type of things. But I tend to think that's stable, normal. This is how a market should be. The last couple of years, that's just not rational behavior. And we're out of that world today.
Timing, I think we used to say like Halloween.
So we used to say, and I didn't say it this year because I think the market was so unpredictable. I used to say, we're gonna have this slowdown, mid-July to the end of August. And then after Labor Day, I thought there'd be a pickup. And I think the market's, there's no rhyme or reason why it's acting right now. So I'm having a hard time even projecting anymore. What we know is Omaha, Scott, it's been a while since we ran that graph, but Omaha is a seasonal market. We know as we get into colder months, into the holiday seasons, right? We know as we head into Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and through January, there's always less houses sold, and the houses typically sell for less than they do in the spring and summer market. So I would expect the same thing. Those houses are going to sell. There's going to be fewer houses sold, and they're going to sell for a little bit less as we head, especially November 1st, probably through February 1st or February 15th. But last year, January, the market was hot, in January, even when we had tough weather. November, December was not bad last year. That's the reason I continue to expect us to be off of our numbers 20%, possibly 25%. I hope not, for pending transaction. But Scott, let's run this again. I think this number's got it. Scott in the room. Did I lose Scott? Oh, he left. Hey, Scott, let's run a year to date. How many, it was a year ago, we ran a report that showed over 50% of all agents sold less than 3 houses, and like 38% sold 2 or less, right? 38, 39%. Let's run those numbers. I'm guessing we're selling less houses and we have more agents. I'm guessing it's going to probably be 60% of the agents sold 3 or less houses last year. I would not be surprised if it's 40+% that have sold 2 or less. And I'd be surprised if you don't have, 20 to 25% of the entire market that sold 0 houses last year. I think some of those people are going to start getting out of the business because the cost of living is getting higher. They were feeling good a year or 2 ago, but now they're feeling gas, they're feeling groceries, the total cost of everything, right? Travel, everything's more expensive. So I think it's not unreasonable. I think some of those people may say, okay, time out, I'm gonna get out of the business, but we'll pull those numbers and share those numbers with you guys here over the next week or 2. Other questions, thoughts that you guys have? Do we have a Good Guide award to give away? All right. So the grill off, with Sunshine Kids, with everything that we've had going on lately, we've ended up canceling the grill off for next Wednesday. We didn't realize, which is our fault, the board has their golf event and a dinner that night. We just feel like people have been overwhelmed. We were struggling to get our 12 to 13 grill masters that we typically have. So we're going to try to combine that into trunk or treat, where we'll have it, whether it's chili or you can do something else there and kind of have a contest at trunk or treat right before Halloween. So that's October 20th. Okay, get up here and give the Good Guy word. Who has it? Yes, Pat. Sunshine Kids. Who attended the event? Guys, we do not have a final number in here, but we know it's north of 550,000, counting the flip house, counting the golf event, which is about 110,000 of that. We raised basically $450,000 just at that event. So for the year, we're gonna be over $550,000. We're still trying to wrap up final details of that. But our response was overwhelmingly positive from the layout we had. I thought the food was overwhelmingly received very, very well. The biggest thing that we had that was probably a frustration was the sound system, which I said, is everyone gonna be able to hear? Oh yes, everyone's gonna be able to hear. Well, shit, nobody could hear. So we will make sure that we have we got great reviews on the guy that was singing though. Speakers up top, speakers in the tents. We will make sure that we spend more time, money, energy, and effort on the sound system last time. But everyone that attended, I hope that you enjoyed yourself. It was a beautiful, I thought we really lucked out on the evening. And I hope that you liked the layout and everything. Huge Ashley for the food and the tent. If you see her, spent, I would tell you, these guys spent, and I'm talking an obscene number of hours working the Sunshine Kids. Please give them a big hand so they don't all ditch me next time around. Mamie kept, even the last day, things kept coming in. She kept plopping them on for silent auction, oral auction, and we did a last minute thing. You know, it just kind of, it fell into place. There was a lot of time, energy, and effort. And Tasha, people on the, they're like, oh my God. If I saw, Tasha said people walking, she was walking down the hall, people turned around and went the other direction. She is doing fundraising, but everybody did an obscene great job. And I will tell you, because I was on texts and the calls with every one of them daily the last 2 weeks, they spent 100 hours plus doing this. So, and they're doing it for the same reason you're donating to it, out of the goodness of their heart, because they know the cause is a good cause. So we appreciate you guys. Maybe you're the only one I see in the room. I don't know where the other two's at. They're probably still resting from this. So give the Good Girl Award away.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Kit Barrett, and so this is a story about somebody who I don't know. I'm about 16 months in here at Berkshire. And I met Cindy Kinsey about 6 months ago through my friend Katie Weinert, who has been steadfast. So shout out. And I have called Cindy, followed up. She said, call me if you have any questions. And she's kind of a VA ninja. And I've had some complicated VA cells. And when I call her, she's always there. And she's gone over purchase agreements. She goes over every scenario. I mean, they're long conversations. She doesn't just answer a question. And she doesn't know me. I mean, it's just, she's been very generous. And so I've been very grateful for her. I've had a lot of people generous with their time here at Berkshire. Shout out Deb Sizek, Jessica. Okay. So, but anyway, Cindy, I don't know what else to say except that I call her and she gives me about 5 different scenarios. We talk about what the best way to go is, and she's always there. So she's a good guy. So Cindy.
Cindy, here anywhere floating around?
I think Cindy's here.
There she is. Congratulations. Keep your speech under 7 minutes.
Here you go.
Wow.
Present this to you.
You can talk if you want. It's totally up to you.
No. Thanks.
Guys, sign up for Jay's class, right? Go get motivated in Adam's class. Most importantly, stay engaged, stay connected, get face-to-face, do client. We have someone, it seems like almost every single week, using the parking lot for a food truck or some sort of client appreciation party. We're even playing with the idea of what can we do as a company, saying, how do we use the parking lot for food trucks, something like that, and get a group of people that want to participate that as agents to do some sort of shared cost on something to that extent. And we're trying to figure out the logistics of how that could work. But I heard another company doing that in another market, and I felt that was a pretty good idea if we could figure out how to be fair in that system. So guys, have a wonderful week. Appreciate you. Keep hustling. Plenty of business to be had.